The Africa Agriculture Assessment Report was launched today at the AGRF 23 Forum, highlighting structural faults within the food systems, its vulnerabilities and advantages presented by the AfCFTA and the continent's demographic dividend. CNBC Africa's Ridhma Shukla had this conversation.
The 2023 report, the Africa Agriculture Status Report, focuses on empowering Africa food system for the future. Look at it, at the food system as a car, but that car is broken. So that's the Africa food system, how it looks like. So the report here, it's like, what are the parts of the car that need to be fixed to help Africa to get from point A to point B?
Well, I did read a part of the report, and it says very holistic changes need to be made. So if we can begin with policy at the government level, Pan-Africa, where are the problems?
In terms of first, because it is ag food system, it means it should involve several players. The government, the private sector, NGO, development partners. Of course, each player has a role to play, so to speak. As far as government is concerned, all issues around policies. Policies on seed, for example, because that's the starting point. Even before that, policy on land, land access. That's the building ground of any food transformation and food system transformation. In most African countries, we don't have policy reforms or in terms of land security, and without land security, there is no financial security, there is no productivity, and so forth. So that's the starting. And then you look at the seed. You need the policy to secure seed, improve seed, to protect those who are producing seed. You need policy to create an environment where the private sector will come and start investing on agriculture inputs, investing in market development, investing in distribution and logistics, all of that. You need policy, government support in terms of infrastructure building, because you can have an improved seed. You can convince the farmers to adopt a new technology, but what happens if there is no access to the market? Because the road from where they are producing and where they are supposed to sell doesn't exist. We also need, in terms of key government role, invest in energy, because we need processing. There is no transformation without processing, and there is no processing without energy. So these are the things that the government should take the lead on. But again, for the whole system to work perfectly, we need the involvement of every single player, the private sector, government, development agencies, and NGOs.
We have been hearing about multi-stakeholdership for improving African food systems. Here you're talking about land management, seed management, procurement. But beyond that, I also read a part in the report which states that Africa at the moment has a net import of agricultural goods of 50 billion. And if nothing was done now, if the right actions were not taken now, within 10 years Africa would be buying up to 200 billion, which apparently the report says is 10 times of what will be needed to just adapt and transform. Please explain that.
So that's the whole paradox that Africa finds itself in. First, Africa has 60% or so of available land, agricultural land across the globe. But at the same time, Africa is importing 80% of processed food that they consume outside of Africa. And of course, you mentioned $50 billion a year, and if nothing is done, we will get to 100 billion by 2030. And it's not a very simple issue, but if anything I can point to explain, it is the lack of the processing segment in the food system. We produce a lot of raw maize, a lot of raw beans, and you name them. But the growing demand is for processed food. And that's where, I know some of my colleagues call it the hidden middle. So we are missing something, and unfortunately, that's why we keep relying on import.
So you're saying value addition is key to transformation. Others also say that AfCFTA should play a very instrumental role to make value addition happen, as far as all African nations come together, set their own frameworks for agriculture, and at the same time communicate with each other. What does the report say about that? What current action needs to be done?
First, remember, under the Malabo commitment, there is commitment number 5 on tripling intra-Africa trade on agriculture. So what it means is that by 2025, in 2 years, Africa is supposed to triple intra-Africa trade. But there is no tripling if there is no processing. There is no tripling if you still have barriers to trade, even non-tariff barriers to trade. And that's where I think the AfCFTA comes into play. Because now, if we can form one big market, if we can remove all the tariff and non-tariff barriers, we create a market for everyone, for every farmer, wherever he is, wherever she is in the continent.